Hey, Bat Family. Welcome back to another review. Scott, you like this one.
Mark, you are absolutely right. I did enjoy this one.
So we are talking about another game that was provided to us by Hobby World. This is Space Bureau by Andrei Kulipov.
And the art was done by Polina Kolingia, Nick Gertz, and Yevgeny Zebrov.
It's a weird-looking game.
It is a crazy-looking game.
But it has a good vibe about it, and it's interesting. So let's go ahead and get into what this thing is.
Yeah.
Space Bureau is a action selection contract fulfillment game.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward in its mechanisms, and you are going to be exploring, as they call in the rulebook, a small universe, where the tiles that represent the planets and the space moles and everything else are all one fuel away from each other, unless you have not explored it, at which point it is 3 fuel away. But on the whole, you are going to be simply taking one of your trade agents, and there are 4 colors. There's blue, orange, purple, and white. The blue, orange, and purple correspond to the planets that you can deliver those agents to and do the contract fulfillment portion of the game with, as well as putting out offices and a variety of other things. But on a player's turn, you are going to pick one of your trade agents and place them on your player board. Now, the player boards are symmetrical on one side for the way they're laid out, and they are asymmetric on the other side. And you are simply going to do what that space says. It could be moving a couple spaces on the Space Bureau board. It could be taking a sample and loading into your cargo storage, placing out an office, taking a trip, upgrading your board. There's a whole variety of things. And when you are just looking at the player board, it looks like a mess. It looks like there's a lot of things, but it has that almost breadcrumb like of, okay, I'm going to put this tile here, which means that based on the connections it can make, I'm going to place my next one here, and so forth and so on. And the actions themselves just get better as you go further up the board.
Yeah, it was really neat.
Once you have taken all the actions of the cell that you have put your trade agent on, as well as any other captain abilities or free actions that you may have, then you are just simply going to draw a new worker, a new trade agent off of the Space Bureau board and pass turn. Turns can feel nice and combo-y and, ooh, I did this, so I got to do this, which lets me do this. And one of the nice things about the action system in the game is if you have multiple of a single type of action, you get to break those up and use those how you want. So you just have to resolve the effects of one thing, and then you can move on, and then you can come back to one of the variable actions. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Take a guy, put him on your board, do the actions, pass turn.
Yeah, each of the guys had like a different ability. So like one was just a sharp 90-degree turn. One would go straight up, so it was a straight line. And then the other one branched off to a little T. And then that little white guy, it was a dead end until you got to flip him. And then he was a 4-way. It was super cool.
So learning curve. Scott, how did it feel to pick the game up and be taught it?
When you look at everything, you're just like, there's only 4 hexes on the board because you got your home base where you're starting. You got 2 planets that are right next to you. And then there's one that's at least 2 spaces away. And I'm just like, okay, what is going on here? And then when you sit there and you're like, oh, you have to spend your fuel to make your little guy go. And we played with the asymmetrical side first, just to kind of make things a little difficult for us. Once you got all the iconography down, it was great. Mm-hmm. Like, it felt very second nature. Like, it's like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Okay, cool. I'm going to do this little thing. Oh, awesome. I can put a person on their planet as long as I'm on the right color every single time.
As far as the ease of teach, I actually think this was a great rule book, which is, I do need to note, it tries to be one of those I'm funny rule books where you like one of the trade agents say, oh, you're 4 millionth in line for customs processing. It'll be 11,000 years before you, like, whatever. I don't care. Don't give me that nonsense in a rule book. Thankfully, that was all off to the margins, so it didn't interrupt the flow of the rules. And the rules were very well written. The back of the rule book, again, just out of the park. Hobby World, well done. Of here's the turn order, here's all the symbols, everything. And the iconography is really a variation on like 4 different things. So if you see a green octagon, you know it's related to fuel. It's just how much fuel am I getting, or if I need to spend it. Actually teaching the game is much easier than what this player board would lead you to think it's going to be.
Yeah.
So on that, we'll just continue in the art, iconography, and components. We've already said the iconography is great.
Yep.
It's easy to understand. And I don't know if you noticed this, but on the bottom of the box down here,
Oh, yeah, it's colorblind friendly.
it even lists out it is. I would be curious to see what Clarky would look at the game and say, because on the agents themselves, that icon's real tiny.
It's really kind of small.
But thankfully, the way they have it on the planet hexes themselves, it's faded out, but it's always in the same space. It's a decent size. And once you know that the blue guys are always the straight corridors, the orange guys are the L bends, I think there's enough there that you can connect that together. I think they did succeed at being color vision issue friendly.
And the colors they chose ones that were just off enough that, I mean, you know, usually it's like when Clarky was here, he says like, I have problems when it's this shade of this color. Mm-hmm. They're just enough off of a shade that I think there'd be enough delineation then to be able to tell. And maybe since we don't have that colorblind, maybe that symbol shows up a little bit better for a person who has color issue. Because yeah, like the blue creature that was just the straight line, he had like the little waves, and then the one had like the little swirls, and it was just like, it's a small icon, but maybe it just pops better for individuals that are colorblind.
Sure. That's very possible.
You know, we might have to pull this out the next time we have Clarky over.
Yeah, that's true. The art is weird and fun. There's
and
not a ton of it, but it all works.
But it works. I mean, actually, I think the part that I just kind of love the most is like the actual Space Bureau, the actual office that you have to go into. Because it's so funny. They did more than they actually had to do, because each of these rooms looks different enough that they made them all each their own. I dig that.
I agree on that. I don't like the perspective they went with, because it is that 3D isometric, like Warcraft or Sims, like,
but,
you know, top down.
This is the diamond. It's the blue diamond that you score for.
No, it is.
You know, and that's why they did it that way.
But I don't love that perspective.
I understand. I like it from an artist and stuff.
Like, we kept calling it the Billy line, like Billy from Family Circus, of he's running everywhere. And there's a dotted line that leads you through the bureau, which is useful. Mm-hmm. But there are a couple moments where it like changes colors, and it's weird. That board I was not a fan of.
I can understand that.
You and I are mixed on that.
Yeah. Your perspective. Yes, I totally understand.
I do appreciate the fact they did put in the time and effort for each room feeling different. Like, the art is very strong there. I just don't like the perspective.
I get it.
Components, I think, are generally strong. The player boards and the Space Bureau board are really nice, thick cardboard. The tokens themselves are all nice wooden pieces. Like, I don't really have a ton of negative to say. Like, the little spaceships are great.
Oh,
really
yeah.
like those a lot.
Yeah, they look like little spaceships. They got a nice little silk screen printing on them. It pops. Yeah, they're very nice.
Yeah, production on this, strong.
Yeah, very strong.
Honestly, I think the worst part of it is just the box is a little thin.
Yeah. It's just,
that's really about it.
It's a thin box. Yeah, because, I mean, the bag that you put the tiles in, the little workers in, that's a nice bag.
Yeah. All right, Scott. Replayability.
This one's going to be rough. I definitely don't think that this is something that I'm going to pull out a ton, but I mean, like, I think this could be very easily like a once a month type of game. You have a symmetrical side on all the player boards, and then there's the asymmetrical side. You don't know what planets are going to come out, because those are a little random, but there's not a ton of them. There's only like a dozen for the 2-player game that we did, right. And then it goes up by a little bit when you have 3.
I think it's 6 extra tiles per player.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's not a ton, but I mean, depending on what comes out, yeah, so there's some replayability. I don't think there is a huge amount.
Yeah, I would agree on that. This is one that you could easily play with a family.
Yeah.
You could have the kids play and they would enjoy it, and they would probably want to play it.
Maybe a couple more times. Yeah. Because, I mean, the little cartoon characters, the little cartoon workers, they're cute.
It all works. It's all very functional.
Yes.
And so I think the replayability is there, so long as you're not going to it constantly.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason to keep this on a shelf if this is your type of game.
Yes, I would completely agree.
So now we get into the what would people like or dislike about it.
There is a little bit of randomness, but it's controlled. You know, we've had other games where the randomness was just way out there, and it just didn't work, and it felt very disjointed. I felt this is very much more controlled chaos because, like, we got to build the map, we got to build our galaxy, we decided which directions we were going to go in, and have those things be built. And I guess as a small detriment, like there wasn't a lot of player interaction. Like it was a little single person solitaire. Like I kind of did my thing, and you kind of did your thing.
Yeah.
I mean, other than like when we put the offices, like, yeah, you beat me to getting out your pink office first before I got my pink office out, but there was enough planets that I eventually got all my offices out. It just had a little bit more work. Like it wasn't hard or overtly so.
I do like the asymmetric boards helping drive different strategies or different approaches, because I had like one of my offices on one of the boards I played was very low. I think it was in the first row of things. So I was able to get a couple of offices out, and it took you a little longer, but by the time you did, those points felt very consequential.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sit here and think of anything I really truly dislike about it.
And there really isn't anything I really dislike about it.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, is it the most wowing game in the world? Certainly not.
No.
I am not a huge fan of Pick Up and Deliver. I think probably the one that I like the most in that category is the original Horrified. But otherwise, I really like contract fulfillment. I like variable layouts. I like the art. I like the theme. There's a lot to approach and feel like you are getting a solid game out of here. I don't feel like at any moment, even though this was multiplayer solitaire, that I was not in constant tension with you.
No. Well, and I think what I loved was, you know, we each had a special power that when we got our little guys on the board, as long as we had it in a certain pattern, we each got we had a different power. Where yours was you got resources and gas and points.
I got board movement, I got gas, and I got a sample.
Where I just got board movement and gas, but you were doing a cross.
I had to have a piece surrounded, and you just had to build a square.
And I just had to build
a square.
And
what's nice about those is there's a whole bag of those, and those are a variant.
Yeah.
So we played with the asymmetric powers and the captain power variants just from the first play of it, because we're us, and why not?
Yeah.
But again, if you want to make it more approachable, if you do want to play with a family or kids, I think there is a very easy road to that of the symmetric boards, and you just play without the special powers. You're still going to have a fun time with this.
Oh, very much so. I can't imagine someone not having fun.
The solo mode. It's the 2-player game by yourself, so you're going to use 12 tiles, you're going to put in the right amount of people, so you're still going to have those 14 turns. It's a beat your own high score variant.
That's rough.
Which is a bummer.
Yeah.
And every time we played it, I went back and I looked at what the high score chart is, and both of us kept beating whatever the top score was, even from our first play. So this is not a game I would recommend for solo play.
Yeah, I don't tend to do solo play. I've started doing solo plays more, but yeah, I want to have more fun with people, and this game, you want more people for it.
Recommendations. There's a couple of them that I have, and the one that just keeps jumping into my head when talking about this is Wormholes from AEG.
Yeah, Wormholes that came out, 2 years ago?
22?
Yeah.
I think?
Yeah, 2022. This is technically a 2024 game. Yeah, I like this in that same vein.
And I mean, I'm going to say the same thing I say every time I bring up Wormholes is play Starry Night Sky instead. Those two games feel similar to me, but my big thing against Wormholes, because Wormholes is more directly comparable to this because it is more of a pick up and deliver. My big issue with that game has always been you build a wormhole network and then the game's done.
Yeah.
Starry Night Sky gives me a lot of those same vibes, but it doesn't have the pick up and deliver as much as it is we're filling out the board. I think all of them have some level of replayability issue, but I think you could play them and enjoy all of them together. Those would be my direct recommendations.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I think what I did enjoy even more about this was because, we had wormholes in this one as well. Only bad thing was they were all clumped together. So
they really were.
We had, all 5 of them, I think, were right there. It was almost in a direct line. So it was like, oops, oh well. But I did enjoy that even once we got, because I put out the last planet, we still had a couple turns left. I think I like the fact that it was worker dependent, not network dependent. So yeah, I would completely agree in your recommendations.
The only other one I would have, and it's a bit of a weird one.
Okay.
But if you're looking thematically, not gameplay wise, but thematically, Galaxy Trucker.
Oh, yeah, this is very much this is a little Galaxy Trucker, but it's on a different. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially the new version of it.
I completely agree.
So with that, we're going to come to our final thoughts and our scores, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be higher than me.
Yeah, I think by just like one, I think.
So with everything I've said before, I think this is a very strong game. I enjoy it. This is a table for me. I'm going to come down on this as a 7. It was a push between a 6 and a 7 for me because I do have some of that replayability issue. It lives in a zone of games that I enjoy but aren't my favorite. Pick Up and Deliver is not something that I really love. But you know what? If somebody sat there and said, we're going to play Space Bureau, yeah, I'm good for it. I'd be happy about that. There's nothing about this game that makes me sit there and think, oh, okay. Like, I had a good time as we played through this. It's not one that I need to own, but I can easily recommend this to other people in a variety of situations.
So I also actually think it's a 7.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is definitely one of those games that I can see pulling out for a new experience for folks. I think it's a decent gateway to some other stuff. Like, I can see doing like a theme night of just a bunch of space games. Galaxy Trucker, Space, and Space Bureau, and just like do a theme night, and this would fit in well. The games are just different enough that it feels like you're having a different experience each time. So yeah, this is a total 7 for me because it's good. It's not great, but it's really good. I really do enjoy it.
Final thought on this as we, send this one off into space.
Yeah.
It's a really strong game. I think this is a really, really strong game for families. It does have that growth ability time after time. And if I had to play this once a week on a game night, yeah, I would enjoy this with my kids.
I think this is perfect for families.
So with that, thank you so much to Hobby World for providing this one to us again. And if you like it, if you don't like it, if you think that we're just completely off base on this one, let us know. Hit us up on our social media, email us, let us know what your opinion on Space Bureau is as well. And we will see you on the next review.